Hi, my name is Lily, and I'm one of the top rising stars in the music industry. I come from a family with more money than most people can dream of, and yes, that definitely comes with its perks. But before I dive into my story, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more updates and behind-the-scenes moments. Now, selling out stadiums, meeting fans worldwide, and traveling all the time may seem like the dream, but let me tell you, there's something that truly makes all the glitz and glamour worth it. The moments when the lights go down and the party starts. It was a night like no other. I was in the middle of my show. The energy was insane. The crowd was screaming my name. But there was something else on my mind. Jack, my boyfriend, had something else planned. And let me tell you, it was far from what I expected. We snuck away together, trying to escape the madness for a while. Jack promised me the most exclusive island party of the year. It sounded amazing at first, but he didn't take us to a yacht. Oh no. He drove us straight to a helicopter pad. And let me tell you something, I'm terrified of heights. I was freaking out. Jack noticed my expression and smirked. It's just a 5-minute ride. Stop overreacting, he said. Trust me, you'll love it. I didn't trust him at all. You know I hate heights, Jack. I snapped. This isn't funny. He waved me off, insisting I relax. Enjoy the party without all the drama. His words stung, and I stormed off. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed air. I walked down the street, feeling completely out of place. That's when I noticed a figure in a hood trailing me. I stopped in my tracks, my heart racing. Without thinking, I spun around and grabbed my stiletto, ready to defend myself. What's your deal? Scared of me? The figure didn't respond, just threw something at me, a magazine. As I bent down to pick it up, I noticed it was my magazine. But something was wrong. My face was marked with red X's, and in bold letters, there was a death threat. I wasn't about to let that scare me. But the threats kept coming, one after another. The next day, my parents, in full panic mode, insisted on hiring a bodyguard. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't want some boring guy shadowing me all the time. But my parents wouldn't take no for an answer. When I met him, I was speechless. I expected someone older, maybe a little, well, less attractive. But instead, this guy was young, handsome, and definitely not what I had in mind. Hey, I tried to joke, trying to lighten the situation. Are you sure you're not my next boyfriend? He didn't even crack a smile. I'm here to do my job, not flirt, he said, his voice cold and serious. I was skeptical. How could someone so young be trusted with my safety? But then, as if to prove himself, a ball flew past me. Without hesitation, he caught it in one hand, effortlessly. Trust me, he said, handing me the ball. I'm good at what I do. You can check my records. Well, that was impressive. But even though he was capable, I didn't like the idea of having someone constantly hovering around me. And that night, things started to get tense between Jack and me. At school, Jack wasn't happy about me being with Damon. Damon, my bodyguard. Jack pulled me aside, clearly upset. Look, Jack started, I know I messed up that night, but why are you hanging out with him? He's just a bodyguard. He's doing his job, Jack, I snapped, standing my ground. You don't get to tell me who I can or can't spend time with. Jack didn't like that. He tried to pull me away, but Damon stepped in, pinning him to the ground without breaking a sweat. Is there a problem? Damon asked, his tone as cold as ever. When the fight was over, Jack stormed off, but I didn't care. I was done with him. And Damon, well, Damon had just saved me from more drama. At school, girls were practically drooling over Damon. And I couldn't blame them. He was ridiculously attractive. I couldn't focus on my lessons without hearing whispers from my classmates. Even my best friend, Emma, couldn't stop staring at him. Hey, she said one day, handing me a coffee. You might want to keep your distance. He seems like trouble. He's just doing his job, I said, not wanting to admit that she might be right. But Damon was always there, following me everywhere, even to the bathroom. At home, he stood outside my door, watching me like a hawk. It was starting to get uncomfortable. One night, I had a recording session. As I was heading to the studio, A guy rushed toward me, but before I knew it, Damon had him pinned, twisting his arm. I just wanted an autograph, the guy pleaded, terrified. Damon released him without saying a word. It's just part of my job, he said, like it was no big deal. The next day, Jack tried to apologize. I ignored him. But then he mentioned something that caught my attention, a private yacht party hosted by his cousin. It sounded exclusive, so I agreed to go. But Damon wouldn't let me go alone. He insisted on tagging along. At the party, Jack and I went to a private movie theater, but Damon's presence was suffocating. It felt like I couldn't breathe without him hovering over me. At dinner, Jack tried to kiss me, but before I could push him away, Damon grabbed him and tossed him across the room. I was furious. "Hey, stop it," I yelled, grabbing Damon's arm. "This isn't helping." But Damon was just doing his job. "Don't let me catch you doing that again," he said, his tone cold. A few days later, I was performing at a concert. Everything was going smoothly until some fans jumped on stage. Without warning, Damon shoved them off and literally lifted me off the stage, carrying me backstage in the middle of my performance. "That's enough," I yelled, clearly frustrated. "This is ruining my career." "Your life is at risk," Damon said, showing no emotion. I complained to my parents, but they just said he was doing his job. I was losing my mind, but they didn't care. I had to deal with it. After a while, I came up with a plan to get him to quit. I tried annoying him, making him run errands, carry my shopping bags, and even forced him to give me compliments. But nothing worked. He didn't budge. One day, I pretended to be injured, hoping he'd carry me. But even then, he did it without hesitation. "Fine," I muttered to myself. "I'm done." I gave away all the clothes I'd bought to an orphanage. At the same time, I found out Jack had moved on to another girl. I didn't care. I sent him a message saying we were done, and I blocked him. That night, I went out to celebrate my newfound freedom, dancing at a local club. But, of course, Damon showed up, pushing anyone who tried to get close to me. I confronted him. "You can't keep scaring guys off like that. You're making me crazy." But Damon just grabbed my hand, pulling me onto the dance floor. For the first time, I saw him smile. It was subtle, but it was there. And in that moment, I realized that maybe things weren't as bad as they seemed. When we got back to my hotel room, however, I found a box of rats waiting for me. Damon was serious about keeping me safe. "We have to be more careful," he said, his usual icy tone back in full force. Despite the threats, I wasn't backing down. I had a concert in Paris, and I wasn't going to let anyone scare me away. Damon insisted on sharing a hotel room to keep me safe, and that's when things started to change. We began sharing moments, and suddenly, I wasn't sure what I was feeling anymore. One night, during a concert, I caught Damon staring at me. For the first time, I felt something more than just respect for my bodyguard. But Damon, ever the professional, insisted he couldn't get emotionally involved with a client. And yet, something had shifted in both of us. I wasn't sure if I was ready to admit it, but Damon was starting to matter to me.